What happens when you work hard, earn a raise, and then get fired right after? Well, early morning, my inbox delivered a miracle with a ribbon on it. Subject: Compensation adjustment approved. From People Operations, Bright Forge Systems. I stared at the email like it might evaporate. 13% raise. Not a cost of living bandage, but an actual adult raise. The kind that says, "We noticed you exist, and we like the way you keep us out of trouble." Brightforge Systems sold supply chain software to hospitals, labs, and anyone else who liked their data clean and their invoices cleaner. My job title was Revenue Integrity Lead, which sounded glamorous until you realized it meant I spent my days tracing numbers through a maze of dashboards and bad decisions. I was the person who found errors before customers did. I was also the person who wrote the calm, polite emails that translated to, "Your spreadsheet is lying and I can prove it. My name is Evelyn Park. I was 39, good at my job, and allergic to corporate theater." That last part was inconvenient at Brightforge, where executives collected buzzwords like "toddlers collect sticky coins." I printed the raise email and slid it into my notebook. Not because I was sentimental, because I believed in receipts. The notification arrived mid-morning. Subject: Alignment conversation. Location: Finance Suite, Glass Office B. Attendees: Derek Slate, CFO, Mara Quill, HR. Partner: Evelyn Park. Alignment conversation. That was the phrase they used when they wanted your badge and your dignity, preferably in that order. I walked to Finance Suite with the calm of someone who had survived enough reorganizations to recognize the scent of smoke. The hall outside Glass Office B was too quiet. Not peaceful. Quiet like a library where someone had already dropped a vase. Inside, Derek Slate sat behind his desk like it was a throne he had personally polished with other people's sleep. Silver cufflinks, precise hair, and a smile that never touched his eyes. Mara Quill sat beside him with a folder that looked heavy with prepared sympathy. Derek tapped the printed raise email on his desk. He had it already. Of course he did. "Well," he said, drawing the word out like a bad violin note. "Congratulations, everyone loves a raise." "Thank you," I said. "It reflects the revenue recoveries I delivered, the audit cleanup, the billing leakage report." Derek leaned back, unimpressed by facts. "Let us not pretend you are a magician. You cleaned up messes other people created, which is not the same as creating value." I blinked once. Cleaning up messes is value. It prevents losses. He gave a small laugh. "There it is, the martyr speech. You people always think you are saving the company." Mara cleared her throat in the way HR professionals did when they wanted to look human while holding the knife. Derek folded his hands. "I am going to be direct. The raise was approved by the CEO based on an overly flattering narrative. I do not agree with it. I told them you did not deserve it." My stomach tightened, but my voice stayed level. "Then why approve it?" "Politics," he said, as if the word explained everything and excused all of it. "But the budget realities are not political. We are making strategic adjustments." "Strategic adjustments," I repeated. "Is this the part where you say my role is eliminated?" Derek smiled wider. "Your role is not eliminated. You are eliminated." Mara flinched. Derek did not notice or did not care. "I am being fired," I said, "right after receiving a raise." "Yes," Derek said. "Think of it as a brief ceremonial moment, like a parade with no candy." Mara opened the folder. "Evelyn, this is a separation meeting. We will provide a standard package, 2 weeks' pay, continued benefits through the end of the month." I looked at Derek. "What is the reason?" Derek shrugged. "Fit? Attitude? You question leadership. You send too many emails." "I send emails when numbers do not add up," I said. "And you do it with that tone," he snapped, the polish cracking. You talk like you are the only competent person in the building. It is exhausting. I let the silence sit between us, sharp and clean. Then I said, "You are firing me because I found the overbilling scheme in the Atlas Care contract." Derek stared. "Do not flatter yourself. You found a reporting inconsistency." "It was systematic," I said. "It benefited finance. It benefited you." Mara looked down at her folder like it suddenly contained live bees. Derek leaned forward, voice cold. "You will sign the separation agreement. You will keep your opinions to yourself, and you will leave quietly. That is the best outcome you are capable of." I stood. "I am capable of more than you think." He smirked. "Prove it." I picked up my notebook, the Ray's email tucked inside, and walked out without raising my voice. My hands were steady, but my thoughts were not. Because Derek Slate had just dared the wrong person to prove her worth. And I still had receipts. I packed my desk in late afternoon while the office performed its favorite ritual, pretending nothing uncomfortable was happening. A few coworkers offered the quick, guilty smile people use when they are grateful it is not them. One person whispered, "What did you do?" Like I had robbed a bank instead of balancing books. I did not answer. I did not owe anyone a soundbite. Outside, the air tasted like winter and opportunity. I sat in my car and opened my notebook. Inside were printed reports, email chains, and a neat list labeled Derek Slate Red Flags. I had started it months ago as a joke. Now it read like a to-do list for karma. Here was the thing about revenue integrity work. You do not just find errors, you find motives. Brightforge had a flagship client called Atlas Care Cooperative. Hospitals, clinics, big money. The contract had performance-based billing, which was a polite way of saying the rules were complicated enough for dishonest people to hide inside them. I had found discrepancies in the uptime credits that Atlas Care was supposed to receive when our software failed. The system logged downtime. The invoices ignored it. Customers paid. Finance celebrated. When I flagged it, Derek had called me into his office mid-morning, weeks before the raise. He had waved my report like it was a dirty napkin. "Do you enjoy being difficult?" "I enjoy accuracy," I said. He smiled without warmth. "Accuracy is a luxury. We are managing perception." "Perception is not revenue," I said. "It is theater." His eyes narrowed. "You are not here to be righteous. You are here to be useful." "I am useful when I prevent lawsuits," I said. He laughed then, loud and sharp. "No one is suing us. Customers do not read contracts. They sign them and complain later. That is business." I remembered that laugh now, in my car, with the fresh sting of being fired still under my skin. Derek had told me to be useful. Fine. I would be useful in a way he could not spreadsheet his way out of. I drove home and did the least cinematic thing possible. I organized files. I opened my personal laptop and pulled up my archive. Every time Derek dismissed a compliance concern, I had followed up in writing. Every time he demanded a shortcut, I had documented the request, the risk, and the impact. I had a thread where he wrote, "Stop creating paper trails." I had replied, "I will continue documenting financial risk." At the time, I felt proud. Now I felt prophetic. I called an employment attorney I had found through a friend who collected lawyers the way other people collected plants. Her name was Camilla Rhodes. She had a voice like calm thunder. "Tell me what happened," Camilla said. I gave her the timeline. The Atlas Care billing issue, my internal report, Derek calling it perception management, the raise email, the alignment meeting, the firing, the insult. Camilla paused. "Did they give you a reason in writing?" "Not yet," I said. "They offered a separation agreement." "Do not sign it," she said, sharp enough to cut through my adrenaline. "And do not delete anything. This sounds like retaliation tied to you raising a legal compliance issue." "It was not compliance," I said. "It was overbilling." Camilla made a small sound of amusement. "Overbilling is compliance. It is just compliance with math. I exhaled. He said I did not deserve the raise. Then we will make him explain that under oath, she said. The words landed like a match. Under oath. Not under fluorescent lights with HR smiling politely. Under oath. Camilla continued. We have a few possible paths. Wrongful termination if you can tie it to your protected reporting, wage retaliation if the raise was used as a trap, and potentially whistleblower protection if this touches federal healthcare billing. Atlas Care is hospitals, yes? Yes. Then your CFO is playing in a sandbox full of regulators, Camilla said, and he kicked sand in the face of the person holding the shovel. I opened my notebook and turned to the page with my list. Derek Slate had dared me to prove my worth. I was going to prove it in the only language he respected: consequences. Early morning, my phone buzzed with a message from Mara Quill, the HR partner. Can you return your laptop today? No greeting, no remorse, just the corporate version of, hand over your organs neatly, please. I forwarded it to Camilla and replied with one sentence. My attorney will coordinate all communications. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Derek Slate. I let it ring twice so he could listen to the sound of being ignored. Then I answered. Hello? His voice came through tight and irritated. Evelyn, stop being dramatic. I am not being dramatic, I said. I am being documented. He exhaled like I had insulted him by breathing. Do you think a lawyer will make you important? A lawyer will make you careful, I said. You are making a mistake, he snapped. You were given a package. Take it. 2 weeks' pay is not a package, I said. It is a coupon. Silence. Then his tone shifted into something nastier, like a smile with teeth. Let me explain your situation. You are a mid-level employee with no leverage. You will not win. You will spend money you do not have and end up unemployed anyway. I kept my voice even. You fired me after approving my raise. I did not approve it, he shot back. I endured it. There is a difference. You said I did not deserve it, I reminded him. Correct, he said. You did not. You are replaceable. I looked at my laptop screen, opened to my archive folder labeled Brightforge Evidence. Then you should have no fear of discovery. He made a short sound, half laugh, half warning. Discovery. Listen to you. You learned one legal word and now you are a crusader. I learned many words, I said. Like retaliation, like misrepresentation, like damages. Derek paused, then said slowly, You are not smart enough to threaten me. I felt something settle in my chest, quiet and iron. You are not smart enough to know you are already threatened. His voice went sharp. If you file anything, I will make sure no one hires you again. There it is, I said. Thank you. What? That was an illegal threat, I said. And I recorded it. He exploded. You did not record me. I did, I said, and it was true. Camilla had instructed me to record any direct contact. In my state, it was legal with one-party consent. I was the one party. Derek was the one problem. His breathing turned heavy. Delete it. No. You are a spiteful little clerk, he hissed. I am a revenue integrity lead, I corrected. Clerks keep ledgers. I keep companies out of court. You fired the person who keeps you out of court. He lowered his voice into something oily. Here is what is going to happen. You will send your laptop back. You will sign the agreement. You will move on. You will not smear my name. I am not smearing anything, I said. I am clarifying. Evelyn, he said, slow and cruel. You do not deserve that raise, and you do not deserve to work here. You should be grateful we tolerated you. I laughed once, soft and humorless. Tolerated me. You mean the way Atlas Care tolerated the extra charges you hid behind uptime numbers? He went silent. I leaned in, voice quiet. Do not call me again. Talk to Camilla. When I hung up, my hands were still steady. My heart was not. It hammered with the kind of anger that wants a target, and the kind of relief that knows the target just volunteered. Camilla called mid-morning after listening to the recording. That threat, she said, almost cheerful, is a gift. I prefer cash, I said. We can convert it, she replied. We will send a demand letter. We will request preservation of evidence. Then we file. Will they settle? I asked. Camilla laughed. Not at first. Your CFO sounds like a man who thinks arrogance is a strategy. That means he will double down. And that means? I asked. That means, she said, we will let him. Mid-morning, Brightforge received Camilla Rhodes like a thunderstorm arriving with paperwork. The demand letter went to the CEO, the General Counsel, HR, and Derek Slate. It laid out the story in clean, merciless paragraphs. Protected reporting, retaliation, termination immediately after a raise, and a recorded threat to sabotage my career. 2 days later, Camilla forwarded me an email from Brightforge Legal. We deny all allegations. We request that your client refrain from further defamatory statements. Camilla wrote back one line. Truth is not defamation. See you in court. I did not know I could love an email, but there it was. We filed the lawsuit the following week. Wrongful termination, retaliation, wage interference. And because Atlas Care involved healthcare billing, Camilla also flagged potential whistleblower issues that made Brightforge sweat in expensive silence. Then discovery began. Early morning one day, Camilla called me with a voice that sounded like she had found a loose thread on a sweater and pulled until the whole ugly pattern came apart. They produced internal finance messages, she said. You need to sit down. I am sitting, I said. In their chat system, Camilla continued, Derek told his team to reclass downtime as maintenance events to avoid issuing credits. He called it invoice hygiene. My mouth went dry. He wrote that? He wrote it repeatedly, Camilla said. He also wrote that you were a risk because you document too much. He suggested eliminating you before you could, quote, become a compliance hero. I closed my eyes. He said that. Camilla made a satisfied sound. He said it. He typed it. He joked about it with emojis. Emojis, I repeated, because the absurdity was almost funny. Almost. Then came Derek deposition. It happened in a neutral conference room that smelled like coffee and fear. Derek arrived in a tailored suit, carrying the confidence of a man who had never been forced to answer a question he did not like. Camilla sat across from him like a patient predator. State your name for the record, she said. Derek Slate, he replied. State your position, Camilla said. Chief Financial Officer of Brightforge Systems, he said, too proud. Camilla nodded. Did you tell Evelyn Park she did not deserve her raise? Derek smiled thinly. I may have expressed concerns. Camilla slid a printed transcript across the table. Here is the recording. You said, quote, you do not deserve that raise. Confirm. Derek glanced at it, jaw tight. Yes. Why did she not deserve it? Camilla asked. She was disruptive, Derek said. She created conflict. By reporting billing discrepancies, Camilla said. By misunderstanding strategy, he snapped. Camilla kept her tone calm. Did you fire her because she reported billing discrepancies that could expose Brightforge to liability? No, Derek said quickly. Camilla leaned forward slightly. Then explain why you fired her immediately after she received a raise based on those same contributions. Derek opened his mouth, closed it, then tried again. We were restructuring. Camilla turned a page. Show me the restructuring plan created before her termination. Brightforge counsel shifted in his seat. Derek blinked. I do not have it with me. Of course, Camilla said. Because it did not exist. His face reddened. That is not true. Camilla slid another document forward. This is your message to Finance Director Lowell Trent. You wrote, reclass downtime so Atlas Care cannot demand credits. Invoice hygiene is how we protect margin. Confirm this is your message. Derek froze. Camilla waited. Brightforge counsel cleared his throat. Objection. Camilla smiled. Noted. Answer the question. Derek looked at the paper like it had betrayed him. Finally, he said, Yes. Camilla nodded. So you instructed billing practices that denied contract credits, then fired the employee who documented the discrepancy, then threatened to sabotage her future employment. Derek snapped, voice rising. She was a nuisance. She acted like she ran the company. Camilla tilted her head. And yet, here you are, under oath, answering her lawyer. I sat quietly behind Camilla, my hands folded, my pulse steady. Derek had once told me I was replaceable. Now he was learning how expensive that assumption could be. Late afternoon, the settlement offer arrived like a reluctant apology written by accountants. Camilla called me. They want to resolve. How generous, I said. Do not celebrate yet, she replied. We negotiate, and we do not forget your revenge plotline. My revenge plotline is stability, I said, and dignity. Camilla laughed. Then let us buy both. The final agreement included back pay, front pay, damages, attorney fees, and a confidentiality clause that Camilla carved into something less suffocating. I could not publicly describe the settlement amount, but I could report misconduct to regulators. Brightforge could not silence me from speaking to agencies. They tried. Camilla said no, with the confidence of a person who has read statutes for fun. 2 days after the settlement, Brightforge announced an internal leadership transition. The email praised Derek Slate for years of financial stewardship and then quietly informed employees that he was no longer with the company. Stewardship. That was the word they used when they meant, we threw him out, but we are embarrassed about it. I learned the real story from an ex-coworker who texted me early morning. Derek was escorted out. Security walked him to the lobby. He looked like he swallowed a stapler. I stared at the message, then laughed. Not because I enjoyed humiliation, because Derek had built his identity on power with no accountability. Watching accountability finally tap him on the shoulder felt like balance returning to the universe. A week later, Atlas Care requested a contract audit. Brightforge had to provide billing logs, downtime records, and internal communications. Discovery in my case had opened a door, and Atlas Care walked through it with a team of consultants who looked like they survived on spreadsheets and spite. Brightforge also initiated invoice remediation, which was corporate speak for, we are paying people back before someone makes us. Camilla called mid-morning. There is more. I love more, I said cautiously. The state labor agency opened an inquiry into retaliation practices, she said. And Atlas Care escalated to a federal oversight group because they bill through government programs. My shoulders loosened. So Derek did not just lose his job. He lost his illusion, Camilla said. I thought about his voice in that phone call. You are a mid-level employee with no leverage. You will not win. He was wrong about the leverage. Leverage is not always a title. Sometimes it is evidence. Sometimes it is timing. Sometimes it is the simple fact that arrogant people talk too much. And Derek had talked like he was untouchable. After the settlement, I did not return to Brightforge. I had no interest in sitting in the same building where people watched me get cut down and called it alignment. Instead, I accepted a role at a smaller firm, Crisp Ledger Analytics, where the CEO opened our first meeting with, if someone tells you to hide a number, you tell me, and then we hide the person who asked. It was a joke. Mostly. I liked that. On my first day, early morning, I placed the printed raise email in a new notebook. Not as a trophy. As a reminder. I had been fired right after getting a raise. The CFO said I did not deserve it. He tried to erase me like a line item. Instead, I proved my worth in court, with documents and a recording and the kind of calm determination that executives mistake for weakness. My revenge was not shouting in the hallway. My revenge was watching a man who worshipped money learn that consequences compound. And the best part was the simplest part. When Derek Slate finally had to answer for what he did, he could not spin it, budget it, or bury it. He could only sit there, under oath, and face the math.